So hello, welcome to It's Not About Food podcast. And today I'm going to be talking about feelings and diet thoughts. And it's the body love card where the goddess is standing with all these things sort of spinning around in her head, like fat grams, carbs, calories, what should I eat, what shouldn't I eat? Is this fattening? Should I drink a lot of water? Not too much water? Willpower, discipline, control. What's fat burning? What even is fat burning? And the back of the card reads, feelings and diet thoughts. Diet thoughts are the kind of thoughts we're having when we think we should only eat certain kinds or quantities of food, count calories or fat grams, or other eating rules that are restrictive and based on losing weight. So the whole point of wondering, what should I eat? When should I eat? Is this okay? How much is okay? How little is okay? What kind is okay? The bottom line of that is to lose weight. So there's no what's best for my body? What's the best nutrition for my body? So that's number one of this whole discussion that we're having today. These thoughts are learned from our diet culture. The diet industry is a multi-billion, with a B, industry, multi-billion-dollar industry. And we have to remember that when we start to look at these things like intermediate fasting or keto, or somebody is making money on this. Dieting is an obsession that allows us to focus on something very tangible and concrete, giving us the feeling that we are in control. So this is the part that I really want to sort of stress, is that when we feel out of control, for instance, when there is a hidden, silent virus going through the world, many of us who are fearful and anxious and upset and don't know what to do about that will try to grab control. And one of the ways that we, as people with an eating disorder, disordered eating, people with body hatred, people with people who worry about this kind of thing, worry about their weight, worry about what their appearance, worry about what they eat, they will latch on to the diet. The diet feels very rigid, but controlled. Very, I would feel out of control when I was younger, suffering from my eating disorder. My life was going to hell in a handbasket. I didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. I was very depressed, very anxious. Not all people with eating disorders are like that. I'm just saying that this is where I was at. So I would latch on to a diet, and the more rigid, the better I felt, because I had a plan. I was walking this path, and it was very narrow, and I couldn't step off of it, and I just felt better. Of course, it didn't last, because as somebody with an eating disorder and body hatred was never good enough. So I would either overeat, come way off my diet, and maybe get very high above my natural body weight, or I'd become more rigid because it wasn't rigid enough. So I'd make stuff up about the diet, like, well, it says to eat 1/2 of a cup. What happens if I eat 1/4 of a cup? Still rigid, still crazy. And so I would go way under my natural weight. So it wasn't ever about, what does my body want? What does my hunger feel like? What's my nutrition? When we understand that diet thoughts can sometimes be a response to underlying feelings, we can then use the diet thoughts as a red flag to explore these feelings. Now, this is like PhD stuff with an eating disorder, is that once I understood, I feel out of control. And that's why I'm thinking of going on yet another diet that will not work, but I don't know what else to do. So I learned when that feeling, that sort of, oh, I've got to control this weight. I've got to control this food. It was an underlying feeling. So the feeling of anger, depression, the feeling of fear, the feeling of loneliness. Like I knew how to feel fat. I knew how to feel that I should go on a diet. I didn't know how to feel that I was lonely and I needed a hug and I needed a friend. I didn't know how to feel that. I didn't know how to feel, I don't know where I'm going to get the rent next month. I didn't know how to feel I have made horrible choices in my life and I don't know what to do about that. But I did know how to feel fat. When I would feel fat and needed to go on a diet, I would feel better. But that wasn't the problem. So it doesn't work. What I want to say about in these times of not knowing and being out of control, it seems our whole world is out of control. And this country is out of control. And we are out of control. We cannot be safe enough, apparently. I can wear a mask. I can wear gloves. I can sanitize until the cows come home. And there still might be a droplet in the air. That is very unsettling for me and for a lot of us. I came from a childhood that was chaotic. So that's what that reminds me of, is that I don't know what's going on and I'm afraid of what's going on. So I have to take my little self by the hand, put my arms around me, remind myself I love me, and that no matter what happens, I'll be here with me. That I may not be able to, unless I want to live in a bubble, stay in my room. And even then, something is going to come, air might get through the door, whatever. There's really no way. There's ways that we can protect ourselves, but there's no absolutes, which is what this little part of me really wants. I want to know that I am going to be okay through this. And so is everybody that I love. And then actually everybody in the world. And then we're going to eradicate this and we're never going to be sick again. So it's like a little kid. A little kid wants everything to just stop and go back to being normal. And there is no normal. So notice when you think to yourself, well, I've got to get these COVID-19 pounds off me. I'll go on a diet. Notice when you think to yourself, I'll go online and take one of these really heavy duty exercise things and I'll lose, 20 pounds overnight. Notice when you start to tell yourself you're fat and you're gross and you need to control yourself a little bit. Notice what else is going on underneath. What else are you afraid of? Why do you feel like you need control over your body? I am not saying that it's not good to eat well or that it's not good to move. Of course it is. I am saying when we start to think about these really severe diet industry sort of thoughts, then notice that. I also feel that we're given a chance right now to slow down and find out what it is that we really do want to do. What is our heart and our soul? What is that crying for? What is the lesson that we're learning? We're all learning, whether we want to or not. There's a lesson here. What is that lesson for us? And how can we graciously, compassionately, lovingly, respectfully start to look at it and follow our heart and our soul and our dreams? It's easy for me to say this. I'm a white person. I live in a beautiful place. And, it's easy for me to say, well, look for the really silver lining in this cloud. But I also know that it's not that easy for me. I have family all over the place, and I am always afraid that something is going to happen to them. And there's a lot of us that feel completely out of control over our living situation, over our work situation, over our food, scarcity. There's really a lot of worry in the world. And maybe the last thing you have are diet thoughts or fat thoughts. But if you are going there, and if you notice that that's taking up a lot of your headspace, then pull back and go, what am I really feeling? That's the whole point of this. What is underneath this feeling of wanting to be in control? The last part of the card is the just for today. Today I will practice noticing my diet thoughts. Each time I think about controlling my food in some way, I will ask myself if there are any feelings that might have triggered this thinking. I will then let myself have the feeling and ask what I need to take care of myself. And that's the lesson here. Once you sort of notice that you want to go on yet another diet that you know in your heart of hearts is probably not going to work, then pull back and see, well, I'm feeling, let's just say scared. I'm feeling scared of what's going on in the world. So instead of just going, okay, whatever, and then continue on obsessing about your food and weight, then ask the question, how can I take care of myself? Many times we just want to know that we are listening to us. I know that sounds crazy because, of course, we are taking care of ourselves by going on this great diet or whatever, but we're not. How we're taking care of ourselves is listening to this small voice inside that says, hey, I'm scared. Hey, I'm worried. Hey, I am not doing that well right now, right this minute. So we want ourselves to be with ourselves. And often I would ask myself, or I do ask myself, what's going on and how can I help myself right now? Many times I don't get anything, like, nothing, I don't know. And just like a little kid, I don't know, I just want it to stop whatever it is. So it's sort of like that. I just want it to stop whatever it is. But I also just want to know that I heard myself. I heard me say, I'm scared. And then a lot of times there's nothing else to do but that. Put my arm around me, stay with me, and remind myself that I will get through whatever comes my way with myself. I will be here with me. So I'm really glad to talk to you today about this. This is such a huge issue right now for so many of my clients and for the world. Of all you got to do is look online, on Facebook, and see how many diets are coming our way. And the worse things get, the more the diets come in to help. But really, wouldn't it be nice if what came in to help was, how are you feeling? How are you getting through the day? What kind of meditation are you doing? Are you walking around the block? How are you doing, really? You know how sometimes we tell somebody how we really feel about something, and then they try to fix it for us, and that makes us upset or mad? That's because we don't really want to fix. We just want to say what's bothering us and feel that and have the other person hear it. And that's what we're trying to do for ourselves. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next month with another little video. And meanwhile, tune into the podcast. There's a whole bunch of them now. They're all on the website. It's notaboutfood.com. And I'd be happy if you could be a patron member. That would be wonderful. Go on my website to find out what else we're doing. And thank you very much. Be well.